Welcome. Let's jump right in. Usually, financial advice is all about deprivation, right? Skip the morning latte, cancel your subscriptions, save every single penny you can. Well, in this explainer, we are completely flipping that script on its head. Get ready to upgrade your wealth, because we're going to talk about the essential investments the source material argues you absolutely must make once you've actually got some cash flow going.
Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're going totally rogue. This explainer is going to map out exactly what the source material says you should be buying to actually compound your success. So if you've already built a solid foundation, maybe you've got a rainy day fund or a steady index fund strategy ticking away, and you finally have some spare money, the author suggests it's time to stop just hoarding it. It's time to start upgrading your life and your earning potential.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're looking at 5 holistic pillars of wealth. 1. Assets and alternative investments. 2. Buying back your time. 3. Upgrading your mind and network. 4. Investing in business tools. And finally, number 5. Health and lifelong experiences.
All right, let's hit pillar number 1, assets and alternative investments.
Now remember, this really applies after you've already set up a solid, hands-off investing strategy in the background. Once you've got that sorted, the source recommends looking at tangible alternative investments. We're talking classic cars, fine watches, vintage wine, and art. What do these all have in common? Well, they're tangible. Unlike just staring at numbers bouncing up and down on a screen, these are real, physical assets you can actually live with, look at, and enjoy, all while they have the potential to hold or even increase in value over time.
To show you what this looks like in the real world, consider this number, 1,000%. This comes from a truly fantastic example in our source material. The speaker bought a Ford Fiesta XR 2 years ago for around £1,750, basically just to flip it for some extra cash. He sold it for a small profit back then, but what if he'd held onto that specific physical asset until today? Well, its value has shot up so much over the last few years that it would have yielded a massive 1,000% return. Pretty wild, right? Let's move along and see how this builds into pillar number 2, buying back your time.
Did you know the average person spends over 230 hours every single year just cleaning their house? I mean, that is literally 29 working days. The source argues that your most constrained resource isn't your money, it's actually your time, and you need to start buying it back from everyday chores. This brings us to a super important question. When is it actually worth paying someone else to do a task? Challenge your traditional mindset for a second. We are so heavily conditioned to think that doing everything ourselves saves us money. But honestly, what is it really costing you in lost earning potential?
To answer that, the source offers a brilliant mental model, your effective hourly rate. You just take your total annual earnings and divide it by your total hours worked in a year. This formula is a total game changer because it takes all the emotion out of the equation and gives you a concrete, mathematical way to truly value your time. Let's break down the math real quick. Say you earn $80,000 a year and you work roughly 2,000 hours. That means your effective hourly rate is $40 an hour. So the crucial point here is that the absolute second you can pay someone less than $40 an hour to take a job off your plate, whether that's cleaning, cooking, or just tedious admin work, you must seriously consider outsourcing it.
Moving on to pillar 3, upgrading your mind and your network.
The author points out that the knowledge you consume and the inner circle you keep around you directly dictate your wealth ceiling. You literally cannot out-earn a stagnant mindset. To fix this, the source highly recommends 4 specific books to upgrade your thinking: The Millionaire Fastlane, The E-Myth Revisited, The Little Book of Common Sense Investing, and How to Win Friends and Influence People. Think about it. For the price of a couple of coffees, you can absorb decades of someone else's life experience and mistakes. Our source notes how simply reading a biography of Richard Branson completely changed the trajectory for a failing dyslexic student. It just proves that a cheap book can offer a massive, life-altering return on investment.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the data on your inner circle, specifically your romantic partner. This might sound a bit controversial for a wealth explainer, but the source argues that choosing a supportive partner is arguably your biggest financial decision, and the numbers totally back this up. On average, married people end up with around 77% more wealth per person than those who stay single, and their net worth climbs by roughly another 16% for every single year they stay married. The right partner literally acts as a multiplier to your wealth.
Beyond your partner, the author says you need to upgrade your teachers. Traditional education will happily teach you all about the French Revolution, but it usually fails miserably at teaching wealth creation. To break out of that, you need to find real-world mentors, whether that's in person, on YouTube, or listening to podcasts, and learn modern, high-income digital skills. We're talking video editing,
copywriting, building website funnels, or using AI. These are the modern skills that actually allow you to multiply your income way outside of a normal 9-to-5 job.
All right, Pillar 4, investing in business tools.
Once you've got the skills and a side hustle going, the source says you've got to look at the practical side of scaling your operations. You essentially enter this money-making machine loop. Save money, buy a better tool, increase quality and efficiency, and ultimately make more money. The source shares this great story about a beginner videographer. He saved up for a basic camera, but soon his incredible skills completely outgrew the gear. He realized buying a pro-level camera wasn't a cost. It was a direct investment into his money-making machine. The upgrade instantly attracted higher-paying clients and essentially paid for itself. That is exactly how you should view your tools. And tools aren't just physical things like cameras or microphones. As you grow, you really can't afford to drown in paperwork. The author emphasizes using smart business software, something like Odoo, for instance, to automate admin, track your profit, and basically act as your digital accountant. Using software to track invoices, chase down late payments, and generate profit and loss statements keeps your finger directly on the pulse of your finances. You absolutely never want to be guessing where your money is going.
Finally, we arrive at Pillar 5, health and lifelong experiences.
Because honestly, what is the point of building all this financial wealth if it doesn't translate into sustaining a rich, healthy, and memorable life? First up in this category is ergonomics. Most of us sit all day for our jobs nowadays. The source is absolutely adamant about this. Do not skimp here. Spending big money on a high-quality desk chair is not a luxury. It's a direct investment in protecting your back and ensuring your long-term earning ability. If your back gives out, your ability to grind gives out right alongside it.
Then there's the critical issue of sleep, which comes with a pretty intense wake-up call. The source notes, not getting enough sleep reduces your decision-making ability to the same extent as being legally drunk. Yikes, right? Our source actually shares a genuinely terrifying anecdote of pushing too hard, falling down a flight of stairs from pure exhaustion, cracking 3 ribs, and actually puncturing a lung. Wearing a fitness tracker to monitor your recovery and prioritizing rest isn't lazy. The author insists it is a critical investment in your biological machine.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final point today. The source maps out spending into 3 emotional phases: anticipation, the moment, and the aftertaste. Think about it. When you buy physical things, the anticipation is kind of frustrating while you wait for delivery. The moment is fun, but the aftertaste is low because the item quickly gets outdated. But when you invest in experiences, the anticipation has you buzzing, the moment itself is great, and the aftertaste is remarkably high because you get lifelong memories that actually appreciate in value as you look back on them.
This means investing in experiences like solo airplane flights, standing trackside at the Monaco Grand Prix, flying RC helicopters for a Ridley Scott movie, or even having an intimate dinner with Richard Branson to talk business. While physical things eventually just end up in a drawer gathering dust, these unique experiences shape exactly who you are, and they leave you with incredible stories to tell your grandkids.
Which leaves us with a final, provocative question. You've done the hard work. You've built the machine to make money. But what experiences will you buy to actually build your life? The author challenges us to shift our mindset from simply hoarding cash to strategically investing in our ultimate well-being and our legacy. The money is just the tool, right? The life you build with it is the masterpiece. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer. Now get out there and start upgrading.